In my apartment, there is a box, and it sits on one of the windowsills overlooking the neighborhood. I've had it for about a month now, and it's been one of the more interesting projects that I've played around with, and I want to share what I've learnt with you. So you may have heard of the Helium network, and it's basically a blockchain of transactions which have been generated via radio systems that are scattered throughout the world. To understand why it exists, we need to go have a look at something in the neighborhood. So right behind me here you can see is the Nebra milk factory, and as you can guess, these would be temperature controlled and monitored. Now the traditional way that you would do that is you would pay a local carrier for a SIM card, which you would then put inside one of the temperature monitoring devices on the trailer, and you would spend $15–20 a month on data, just broadcasting periodically how cool is the milk inside one of those trailers. So that's the way that things are done traditionally. Using the Helium network, you could have a IoT device on the same trailer, but now your costs are such that there is no monthly data plan that you're paying for, and you're also paying fractions of pennies every time you transmit data. So the costs to actually monitor something is no longer $20 a month or $30 a month. It might be 2 cents a month. So the savings are absolutely huge. And using the Helium network, a truck such as one of those can now broadcast periodically what its temperature is, and that would get picked up by a hotspot such as what I have and relayed back onto the internet almost for free. And obviously we get paid every time data is transmitted. So that is a good example of how this would work in my neighborhood. So now you have an understanding of why these things exist. You will understand, I realized about a year ago when I was first made aware that Helium existed, that this could be something worth looking into. And this is really where it's been a source of frustration, but also incredible learning. So the main frustration came from the fact that I was able to order in April of 2021, and then it basically took 51 weeks for them to deliver. Now, back when I first ordered, the price of Helium was reasonably high. Also, the number of miners and hotspots out there was reasonably low. So there was a lot to be had if you were in early. So a year later, when my hotspot finally arrived, Toronto is now something like the 3rd or 4th most populated city on Earth. The end result of this is when you take a city like Toronto and you look at it on the Helium Explorer map, you'll see that where things are divided up in hexagons, you're supposed to have roughly one hotspot per hexagon. Remember, these things can see quite some distance, so they don't need to be on top of each other. Further to this, if you have too many hotspots in one area, what then happens is the rewards are basically getting diluted down. So you've got this amalgamation of problems where, number one, the amount of helium that is available is going down. The number of hotspots that are then clamoring for that helium is also going up. And so, it's a very, very competitive landscape now in comparison to what it was a year ago. So having waited for this hotspot to arrive, it finally does arrive. And I think I'm averaging about once a week having to open a support ticket. Now, the company Nebra that I'm dealing with, they're doing a good job at answering my questions. However, the fact that things just randomly stop from time to time, that has been quite concerning. On the other hand, it does force me to go out and deal with the Helium community and find out, are you having the same problem as I'm having? Because this is just absolutely killing me. So what exactly does this hotspot do? Well, number one, it's listening for transmissions, whether they be from other hotspots or people transmitting data, and then it's basically relaying it back over my Wi-Fi onto the internet and then back to the blockchain. And for doing any of these activities, it gets a payment in HNT, which is the Helium network token. So it's a very, very simple idea, and it works well from that standpoint. However, as somebody that's running a hotspot, the number of changes that happen with the Helium system and the challenges that are happening as well, where people are spoofing and things like that, it's a very intense kind of community to be involved in, because everybody is either waiting for their hotspot, upset that it's not working, can't work out technical details like relaying, opening up ports on your router. Like, there are always things going on. And also on top of that, the network itself is like, yeah, and in 2 weeks we're going to go and change how your router works on the network. Now, having said that, the learning opportunity has been great, so I don't begrudge doing this, but what I do find is that, this is not something that I would recommend to other people if they're not comfortable with, opening firewalls, routers, setting up port forwarding and things. Like, that's not something that I think the average person would expect to do, let alone know how to do. In addition to that, there's also, just the general day-to-day wondering, like, is it working, and having to check on it, because you may not get a notification that it's working, but you suddenly notice on one of the dashboards that you're just not earning anything, and then of course you're in the subreddits and things. So from that standpoint, it has been, as I said, something, it forces you into the community just to basically remain informed and know if that you need to fix something, or they're about to fix something, or you need to go and open a support ticket to get somebody else to fix something. Now, there are a lot of YouTubers such as VoskCoin.
My name is Vosk, you're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, and we have made over 30 Helium mining videos.
And other people who, they've done lots and lots of videos about how the mining and everything works. I really wanted to just to sort of share my experience, which has been totally different to some of the other YouTubers out there. But, that is one of the things when you've got a ecosystem that has multiple manufacturers doing multiple different versions of the same thing, there are going to be differences. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. If you are interested, what I would suggest is maybe go have a look at some of the VoskCoin videos about HNT and Helium mining and stuff, because he's kind of covered that largely in depth, and for him it's worked very, very well. But then again, he's not in Toronto, so the landscape is totally different. Anyway, hope you found this interesting. Speak to you soon.